folks, it's Rick Wilson. Welcome back to the Enemies List podcast. I'm recording this on Saturday to be released next week because I will be traveling almost all of next week. So we wanted to make sure we had an episode in the can for you guys. Since I'm recording this on Saturday, there is an enemy in the room right now that is a compound enemy. There's an Enemies List entrant today that is a compound enemy. First, let me say something optimistic because I'm a ray of sunshine. Went to the Tallahassee No Kings rally. Thousands of people, more than I've ever seen at a protest in Tallahassee in my lifetime. Normally, you get a couple dozen people out there on the east lawn of the Capitol, and that's about it. Blocks around the Capitol jammed with people, thousands and thousands of people. It was an amazing event. This was iterated across the country. Millions and millions and millions of Americans were on the streets with a simple message. No kings, baby. We do not live in that world. Donald Trump had his little military parade in D.C. They expected 200,000 people. They got a couple thousand. I think there were more people in mid-sized American cities today, any random mid-sized American city today at No Kings than there were at the entire Trump military parade. We'll set that aside for the moment. We saw two and attempted three political assassinations this weekend in Minnesota. And they were political assassination attempts. Let's not pretend that they weren't. Vance Luther or Butler, I'm not sure how to pronounce that name yet, but Vance Luther Butler, perhaps, I'm not sure. But Bettler, I'm going to call him that for now. And if I'm mistaken, we will speak to it in a future date. Bettler killed Democrats. He's a Republican. He is a right-wing anti-gay Republican. He is a guy who lives in the woke mind virus bubble where he thinks that everything is woke and DEI and gay and trans. Disguised himself as a cop, used a car that looked like a police vehicle. As of the time I'm recording this, he is still on the run. But we have seen two Minnesota Democrats killed. He killed them for reasons we're not clear on yet, but he had a manifesto in his car. The manifesto had 70 other names on it. They were all Democrats. This is what stochastic terrorism looks like. They appear random, and this guy is, Donald Trump didn't order this guy to go do this. The MAGA media machine didn't order this guy to go do this, but he did it. And I'll tell you why, really the villain this week, this guy's a villain on his own. But the villain this week is the MAGA media machine and the MAGA propaganda system that within minutes of this story break, he's a liberal Democrat. He's a left-winger. He's a left-wing liberal. Tim Walz appointed him to a nonpartisan commission that he had been he reappointed him to a nonpartisan commission that Mark Dayton, the previous governor, had appointed the guy to. Democrats are running in fear because Republicans are like, oh, he's connected. He's an appointee of Tim Walz. Nonpartisan commissions in states have thousands of people on them. Reappointments are almost automatic. I'm sure Tim Walz couldn't have picked this guy out of a lineup. But the fact of the matter is he's out murdering Democrats. And what do you hear? What do you see in this week? We saw over and over again people online tweeting, oh, I hope the Marines kill those protesters. Donald Trump saying, we're going to attack you with such savagery if you protest the missile parade. We got that obese boss hog fat fuck sheriff in Brevard County, Sheriff Ivey, saying, oh, we're going to kill you graveyard dead.
We will be notifying your family where to collect your remains at because we will kill you graveyard dead.
I don't want to hear a fucking word from these people about tone, about language, about rhetoric. They lost their fucking minds when I wrote a campaign-style memo called Kill Tesla, Save America, accusing me of wanting to murder Elon and to get fucked. These people are told every day, and guys like Butler are told every day, the Democrats aren't just your opposition, they're your enemy. They're not human. They're monsters. They're pedophiles. They're communists. They're socialists. They're Marxist. They're evil. What are we told for months as this whole immigration shenanigan ramped up into its current state of frenzied cruelty? Oh, they eat the dogs and cats. They're all criminals. They're all illegal. If they're here without citizenship, they're illegal, which is, by the way, not true, but we'll leave that for a moment. And over again, the framing, the tough guys, right? Remember, they're the tough guys. Oh, and facts don't care about your feelings, snowflake. The tough guys who crumble under the slightest criticism, who run to mama every time someone says, hey, by the way, don't do Nazi salutes, don't do Nazi shit, don't embrace Nazi philosophies. They get so angry. And yet, a lot of the time, if you don't want to like be called a Nazi, maybe don't wear the jackboot and the Hugo Boss uniform, chief. But the characterization over and over again it always ramps up and up and up. Oh, it's a Democrat. They're a criminal. They're a pedophile. They're a cannibal. They're controlled by the Chinese Communist Party. And so you get people who are unsophisticated, who consume this media. I promise you, when we find out where this guy's social media consumption patterns are and his news media consumption patterns are, we're going to know a lot more. But he didn't come out of nowhere. This guy just didn't emerge from the woodwork de novo and say, oh, I'm going to go murder some people. I'm going to make a list of 70 Democrats to put on my hit list. Republicans rely on a hermetically sealed media climate, a culture. There are three normative forces in that culture: Twitter, Fox News, and Facebook. Those three places are full of lies, lurid conspiracy theories based in nothing but whether they're going to bring in more clicks. In all those places, you hear that message over and over again. These people aren't human. They want to kill you. They want to corrupt your family. They want to kill your religion. They want to turn your kids into trans-Tifa, if you will. And all of it comes down to this moment where you really have to ask yourself, do they ever have any responsibility for the illusion they're creating for millions of people? They have an understanding. Fox has already paid almost $1 billion in legal fees and legal penalties for lying. Twitter has become the amplification hub for 1 trillion crazy right-wing conspiracy theories. All of these things are the responsibility of the people who create them, as well as the people who act on them. I'm shocked we haven't had more, frankly, cases like this. I'm shocked we haven't had more people. And I'll tell you a personal story. We get a fair number of death threats, always have, since 2015. One of the people that threatened me quite a few years back now, 6 or 7 years back now, was absolutely convinced that I was part of a neocon conspiracy with the Jews to enslave America, because I had worked for a Bush, well, a couple of them, and a lot of violent threats. You know, we had to get the law enforcement guys involved, whatever. But it struck me. I was talking to one of the state attorney guys at one point. He just believes a lot of shit that isn't real, man, and it stuck with me. It stuck with me for a long time, and that's what this guy did in Minnesota. He believed a lot of shit that wasn't real. I guarantee you, he's steeped in the culture. These people have a tell now. I've seen one video clip of him talking about people don't know their sex in America, and he's going off on some sort of tirade about it. Culture wars are what the right thrives on, but they also produce second-order effects in crazy people. I don't know what caused the final blood spree here, but he had a cop car or something close enough to looking like a cop car that you couldn't tell, looked like a cop, dressed like a cop uniform. There was a possibility, except for the incredible work of one local detective, apparently, or one local officer, immediately said, what? We've got legislators who live in my district too. I'd better check on them, which is when they had the gunfight with this guy. If it had not been for that one officer, we may well have been in a situation where he went to the second and third and fourth and fifth and 10th victims. We may well have had a situation where this serial killing spree escalated to the point where it caused more of a public terror than it's already caused. The people that create this environment and the people who implement it and are the enablers of it. Look, I don't think Mark Zuckerberg wakes up and goes, hey, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to fill my platform up with far-right conspiracy theories about Democrats being controlled by the China and George Soros and the Jews and all the other crap. I don't think he wakes up thinking that. I don't think he gives a shit. I don't think he cares. I don't think it doesn't bother him that his platform is used for this. The Murdochs, number one, MAGAs, by the way. I know you guys love Fox because they tell you what you want to hear every day. It's all the same thing. Well, you're the tallest, handsomest, smartest man in the room, and you've got a penis made of pure titanium. They have milked you for decades. Now, Rupert and Lachlan are right-wingers, but they know what happens. They know what they do. They know the trans stuff is bullshit. They know the cats and dogs thing was bullshit. They just don't care. Now, they've paid a large financial penalty, and they're about to pay some more, from what I understand, for some other pending stuff out there. But nothing about what they do is constrained. Now, Elon, depending on whatever the level of whatever drug cocktail he's on today, has turned Twitter into an amplification system of the worst of the sort. It's the worst of the three. People go on Twitter now and say, Democrat X killed a man and, buried his body in the desert and then went and sold his wife and daughter into white slavery or whatever, and nothing stops it. There's no moderation. There's no accountability. They all hide behind the fig leaf of Section 230. And in some ways, Section 230 is the reason why these platforms are unaccountable. But their leadership all knows what's on the platforms. Elon knows what's on his platform. He wired the platform to put it there. The alt-right stuff, the neo-Nazi stuff, the white supremacist stuff, the white replacement theory stuff. He knows what's there. He knows why it's there. He changed the weightings on the platform. He changed the algorithm on the platform. It's not a secret how he did it. All all these people come together at some point in a sort of synthesis of cruelty and mendacity and conspiracy, and with the knowledge that what they do for the Republican base is incredibly effective, that Republicans buy this shit wholesale, that they believe everything they're told. Some of them take it too far. I don't care if the average suburban housewife in Sandusky, Ohio, who watches Fox 8 hours a day, believes that there's a war on Christmas. Doesn't matter. It's trivial. I don't even care if she believes that the Haitians are eating the dogs and the cats. Again, stupid, but trivial. What I do care about is this ecosystem, this MAGA media ecosystem, of which nothing exists, by the way, on the left or the center or in the mainstream media. There's nothing to parallel it. Those folks are on the enemy's list, and they're going to stay there because what they're doing is profitable for them and deadly for the country. Do me a big favor. If you could go on my Substack, therick.wilson.substack.com, and subscribe, that would be awesome. Check out my YouTube channel. That would also be awesome. And check out Lincoln Square. That would be the most awesome. We're growing this platform really quickly, folks. We have gotten well over 700,000 folks now on board, and it's growing so fast. We are so thrilled by it because we're bringing you unvarnished, unapologetic, constant, and tireless opposition to this autocratic movement, to this violent moment in this history, and to Donald Trump and his minions. We're putting people like Stephen Miller and Russell Vought into the public eye in ways they don't like and don't want, but we're going to keep doing it. We're going to keep talking about the things that matter in a constitutional republic, in the American democracy so many have sacrificed for. So join us, be on our team, spread the word. We are pushing content out every single day that goes right at what we need to be telling folks in this country. We're not Republicans. We're not Democrats. We are Americans. We are busting it every day to make sure that you have the tools to fight these battles in your life, in your work, at your home, because, the proverbial dinner table conversation with the MAGA uncle is reaching a point where we're not just having a polite conversation anymore. We've got to stand up and fight. So if you will join us at Lincoln Square or join me at Rick Wilson on Substack, I would love it. Had a great time this weekend at the No Kings March, and we look forward to talking to you again. Thanks, everybody.